We are going to start with data structure. First thing, what we are going to discuss is algorithm. Have you came across data structure, or is it completely new for you people? Come on, it is completely new. Okay, okay, fine. Here, okay, ma, okay. So here, what is data structure or what is algorithm? So generally, when I mean the data structure, organizing the data in one particular way or one particular order is called data structure, organizing data. And whenever I say algorithm, algorithm is nothing but whatever the logic we people are thinking. It's a step-by-step procedure or logic, I can say it's an algorithm. It's a common term wherever you go, they used to say algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a problem. If you take some scenario, it is a problem solving, right? When you're solving the problem by step-by-step procedure, that is called algorithm. Step-by-step procedure to solve a problem. For a single problem, I can have different algorithm. As we see, for prime number, the same prime number program can be written with n iteration, n by 2 iteration, and square root of the given number iteration. Here, the taken scenario is finding the given number is prime or not. That is a problem we have taken. But what happened for the same scenario, we are implementing different kind of algorithm. For each and every algorithm, the response time is different, isn't it? So here, whenever we say algorithm, whatever the step-by-step procedure we write is called algorithm, and this algorithm can be we have different type of algorithm for a same problem. Okay, so whenever I say algorithm, algorithm has certain characteristics. Okay, characteristics in this is whenever we write an algorithm, we'll follow these things should be there. Characteristics of an algorithm. Your first one is I'll have input statement. Whenever you write an algorithm, I will have an input statement. It is not mandatory. I may have or I may not have. So some programs will accept input and some programs will not accept input, isn't it? So somehow it will execute. So that is called a first characteristic of an algorithm. Algorithm will have an input. When you're speaking about the input, it may have zero input or it may have more than one input. And whenever you're executing a program, you should produce an output. You're writing an algorithm without without a output is meaningless, right? So when you're speaking about the output, I should have one output or I may have more output, more than one output. This is all about your output, guys. So whenever I speak algorithm, these two are the basic two characteristics. And apart from this, I'll have definiteness, where whenever I write an algorithm, you people have used to have an algorithm, right? If you're writing a lab notebook, you'll be having algorithm has to be written. What is the step-by-step process you're going to do it? So this algorithm can be classified into different types because normally I can write in a English wordings, and apart from this used to draw a flow chart, and apart from this used to write a pseudocode. All those things comes under different kind of algorithm. So whenever you're going to write an algorithm in a natural language, you'll be writing start the program, accept two numbers. Then if you want to do addition of two number, add two numbers, display the result, end the algorithm. This is how your algorithm will be there. Okay, whenever you're going to algorithm, it should be definite. The lines whatever you're writing should not be repeated. Okay, should not be repeated. It should be in a definite number of steps, and whatever the algorithm you're writing should be effectiveness. Should be effective. So effectiveness is the other important characteristics which you're supposed to consider. Where whenever you're writing a program when you're writing algorithm for a program, you should write a meaningful statement, and moreover, this particular line should not be repeated. The same line should not be repeated. If you find the same step is repeated, yes, you can mention go to the particular step. So this is the other one important characters of an algorithm. And the next one is, guys, all those things just for your knowledge alone. Okay. Somehow you're going to learn about time complexity. You should know what is algorithm, what is characteristics of an algorithm. And next is finiteness. Finiteness in the sense when you write an algorithm, you should have finite number of steps. I can't write like a stories. I can't write like a multiple line of stories. That's not possible. whatever the algorithm you write should be in a finite number of steps, countable number of steps. This is all about the all completely about characteristics of an algorithm, guys. Okay, algorithm can be written in a language, natural language. Whatever the language we speak, it can be written in a natural language in English. Since English is a universal language, we'll be writing it in it. Okay, just a minute, guys. Sorry for the interrupt, ma. Okay, here these are the characteristics of an algorithm. So whenever I say algorithm, algorithm is a step-by-step procedure, and step-by-step procedure, and this procedure will have these following characteristics. Okay, it will have a input, output, and it should have a definiteness, and whatever the coding you're writing should be effective, and it should have a finite number of steps. I can't able to write an algorithm like a stories. So here, why should I speak about algorithm? What is the necessity of it? Whenever you people are writing program, you might have different number of test cases, right? So in those cases, you'll get different types of error. You might have came across different types of error message, like you'll be having time error, okay, time complexity error, or timeout error, isn't it? You'll be having time error, time complexity error, or timeout error. And apart from this, you'll have a space complexity, a memory insufficient, where space complexity error you'll be getting. And apart from this, you may get wrong answer. Okay, you may get like what to say, you'll get wrong, you'll say wrong answer. Wrong answer in the sense where the answer does not matches. Wrong answer, and what else? Compile time error. So this compile error, wrong answer, all those things deals with the logic, guys. So when you're speaking with about these errors, timeout error, and space complexity error, these can be rectified if you know to analyze the algorithm. How efficient is that algorithm? If you know to analyze it, then you can able to overcome this time complexity error and space complexity error. These are the common errors you people will be failing in case of test cases, where your logic will be fine, everything will be working fine, but what happens sometimes for a same program, it will show you timeout error. Your logic is work, but whatever the time they are fixed for the particular program, it is not executing within the time frame. That might, in those cases, you'll be getting timeout error. And in case of space complexity, you'll be getting, if at all you are using this recursion program, what happen when you're using recursion, it will make use of your stack memory. So if it make use of stack memory, when there is a insufficient memory, you will get space error. So right now, we people are going to deal with how to analyze this timeout error and this space complexity. These are the major thing which you're going to see here in this algorithm. I'll tell you people how to analyze this time complexity required for this program and what is the space complexity required for this program. So here, if you want to write an efficient program, you should analyze the algorithm. So let us see how to analyze an algorithm. So you should have knowledge about how to analyze an algorithm. So it will help you to write an efficient algorithm. So if you want to analyze an algorithm, you should know how what is the time required for execution, what is the space required for execution of the particular algorithm, and what is the network. This is what type of network you are using it. Okay, apart from power consumption, and apart from this CPU register, what is the memory of CPU register, all those things deals with here analyzing of algorithm. So all the network power CPU, all those things you people is not required to bother about it when you're writing the exam. It is not required for you people to bother about these things. You're supposed to concern only about these two factor. One is time complexity, another space complexity of algorithm, whatever we are writing. So if you want to calculate the time complexity for the program what you're writing, it can be calculated by the time function. Okay, and space complexity depends upon the memory usage, how many variables you are declaring, how many number of iterations is taking place. All those things defines your space complexity. So right now we are going to see this time analysis and space analysis, how to analyze an algorithm. Okay. So here, initially let me write a general program for swapping of two numbers. And this algorithm swapping of two numbers, I write in a generic way, guys. I didn't write specifically for Python. Python, we know that a comma b assign b comma a will give you swapping of two numbers. Okay. So here I'll write a common one. Okay. Even this logic is common for all the programming language, right? By making temporary variable. So I'm going to write an algorithm for a swapping of two numbers in a common way. So if I write algorithm, let me write algorithm for swapping of two numbers a comma b. And here if you want to perform swapping of a comma b, what I'll do, I'll mention temp assign a. Even swapping can be done like this also. B assign a. This is a common one where you do for all the programming language. B assign temp. Okay, this is a common swapping logic, guys. So here we are going to see how much time is required for doing this program. So we're going to have a time analysis here. Time analysis, and we can see space analysis in this basic algorithm. As I say algorithm, we are going to write a, we are not going to write an exact code, we are going to write only the procedure what you are going to do. Clear. The particular procedure is later on converted to the algorithm, where this algorithm plays a major role in case of development. As soon as they have some requirement, they'll never start doing the program. What they will do is they will first analyze the requirement of the client, and they will start drawing the algorithm, writing algorithm and drawing flowchart for the algorithm. Then only they'll start coding it. So in the industry, this is what happened. As soon as the requirement comes, they'll never start coding. Before to that, in SDL, in case of if at all you learned about software development life cycle, this particular algorithm, the before the development, we are having design phase, which plays an important role, where this algorithm plays important role in those cases. Now we are going to see how to analyze the time complexity for it. So each and every line we are going to take it as a unit of time. For executing one line, we are going to take 1 unit. For executing this first line, the time complexity is 1 unit. The same way for executing the next line. For executing the next line, we'll have again 1 unit. For each and every line, consume that it takes 1 unit. The same way, let us assume for this also it acts as 1 unit. This one is nothing but we are taking time as a unit time. It takes 1 unit. Overall, for doing this program, how many unit time is taken? It takes 3 unit of time, isn't it? So if execution of each and every line takes 1 unit, overall it takes 3 unit of time to complete this particular program. So what is 3 here? Your time complexity is mentioned by f of n. Guys, here this analyzing is completely a mathematical oriented, guys. Whatever we are going to see is completely a mathematical oriented. We'll see what is that, okay? So it is mentioned by f of n. So what is this f of n? Mentions the time complexity on how much unit of time is taken? 3. So whenever I get this constant value like 3, 20, 200, whatever it may be, the time complexity is taken as a constant value. Got it. Whenever I get value like this, the time complexity is taken as a constant, where it is a constant number, right? It might be of any number. So whenever it is a constant, then I'm going to give it the notation big O of 1. Guys, I'll tell you about this big O notation in the end of the session. What is big O? What is theta, omega? All those things are big equation, guys. You should know how to form the equation. Right now, keep in mind that whenever I get a constant value, my complexity is big O of 1. And same way, for each and every variable, how many memory will be allocated? One unit space will be allocated. So here you can notice that how many variables are there. We are having one variable called a, and for a I'm having 1 unit space, and I'm having one more variable called b, and for b I'm having 1 unit space. And same way I'm having one variable called c, and this has 1 unit space. Overall 3 unit space. Even your space complexity, is mentioned by s of n. S of n is also a constant value, which gives you the only 1 as a notation. This is all about the calculating complexity in a basic manner, guys. So right now I'm writing big O of 1, all those things. What is that? All those things are the common notation. Okay, there are common notation to represent a time complexity. First, you should know what are the common notations available. Okay, common equation I can say. And these equations are written in asymptotic notation. Asymptotic notation will have big O followed by omega and theta. These are the notation we'll be using. More commonly, they'll be using big O. So when we say, just a minute, guys. These are asymptotic notation. So whenever we say asymptotic notation, we'll deal with three elements. One is big O, big O, and next is omega, another is theta. These are the three notation, guys. We'll be using common notation. These are asymptotic notation, where this asymptotic notation is implemented for certain equation, mathematical equation. So we'll be getting the symbol like 1. 1 is used for representing the constant value. Okay, so if at all you're writing this particular equation by using this asymptotic notation big O, I'll write big O of 1. So if you have a constant value like this, integer value, we're getting an integer value, so I'll use this constant. And apart from this, I can make use of lot of notations are there, guys. Let me write only few elements alone. Log n. This log n is used for representing a logarithmic. Logarithmic, and this logarithmic is mentioned here in case of big O of log n. This will be mentioning your logarithmic equation, guys. These are the normal mathematical equation. If at all you're writing in the big O notation, you'll be writing like this. Okay, let me tell you people the more commonly used notation alone, not all the notations. And n is for your linear. How many times the loop executes? This is for your linear equation. And if at all you're mentioning the same thing by big O, I'll mention big O of n. And we'll have n log n. N log n. So this is for your log linear. And what else? Lot of notation is there, guys. N, what I can say, n square. This equation is quadratic equation. So whatever I'm writing here, the same thing will be written in a big O of notation. That's the reason I didn't write it. The same thing I'm going to repeat it here, guys. So the same notation, the same equation will be mentioned inside a big O. That's it. Okay, first I will let you know what are the symbols available. Then I will go with the calculation part, guys. So without the knowledge of a symbol, you people just will be looking at it as a vaguely. So I don't want you to just memorize this one. You want to calculate by your own. That is the reason. First, I let you know what are the symbolic equation we may form, we may get cubic, and apart from this, we'll have a exponential n power n. This exponential. So you can notice that among this algorithm, which is the efficient, I can get any one of the notation when I'm trying to calculate the time complexity. I may get any one of the I may get any one of the not sorry guys, I may get any one of the notation. So which is the efficient one? When you're comparing with all the things, this constant is the efficient one. If I'm writing in a sequential manner, you can notice that this one is more efficient when you're compared with log n. Okay, here since I put less than symbol, the time like required for executing this particular notation what I get is less compared to log n. The same way square root of n. We'll have, as I told you, that in between can have lot of notation will be there, guys. Just I mentioned the most common notation. If you're going to write the complete one, you'll have a long list is there. And compared to n, square root of n is less. Compared to n log n, yeah, n is less. Compared to n square, this is less. So same way I can go with this particular notation, keep on going, keep on increases guys like this. So it will have like this, a big notation will be there. 2n, 2 power n, 3 power n will be there, and we'll have a big equation till n power n. So this is how your time complexity is measured guys. We have some more when you're calculating the time complexity, we'll get any one of this notation. So each and every notation has a equivalent name, and this notation cannot occur directly. So this notation is given with asymptotic notation. Asymptotic in the sense we'll write this particular notation by using any one of the symbol. So whenever I say theta, omega will be written by using this symbol. Instead of writing this particular O, I can write the same notation by using omega is given by this symbol, and theta, we know theta in mathematical notation, right? Theta, sine theta, cos theta of O. I can write either by using this particular omega or by theta is completely up to us, but more commonly we people will be using only big O. Okay, since big O is the upper bound, so maximum bound, so we'll be using big O. So if required, you can write in omega and theta also. So these are the asymptotic notation which is used for this implementation of this mathematical equation. So now we'll go ahead with further to see how to solve how to find the complexity for each and every type of algorithm. First, we'll start with the looping guys. So I guess you people are clear with the notation, what are the notation will be there and which is the efficient one. So efficiency is calculated by number of what is the equation you're getting. Here, if we get one, there is a more efficient one compared to the all the other type of equation what we get. Now, we'll go ahead with multiple scenarios and see how to calculate the time complexity for an algorithm. Let me take a first scenario. Here I'm going to write only the for loop guys. I'm not going to write the complete loop. I'm going to write only the for loop. Look at here. For I in range of 0 to n, and inside this if I'm having some statement. Can you people let me know how many times does this statement executes? Okay, we'll go with the outer statement, guys, first. How many times this for loop executes, ma? How many times for loop executes? Good. This will execute n times, and this will execute. Good. Both the person is going to execute n times. Both will execute either outer loop or inner loop. Both the person are going to execute n times. When I'm trying to calculate the equation, so I'll be getting. You're going to add this one, guys. When you're adding this one, you'll be getting output as 2n. Okay, you'll be getting 2n. This is the time complexity which is required for calculating this particular program. So whenever you're trying to calculate this is the order of degree guys. So this is the order of degree what we got. When you're going to take this particular 2n for f of n, we will never consider this constant value. We'll never consider this constant value for calculating the equation. So we'll take only whenever you're taking with this degree of polynomial, we'll take only the symbolic notations. What is they will now will omit this constant value. This is a common in case of calculation. After calculating one or two program, you people might be clear with this. So whenever you're adding this one, we'll avoid the constant value. It might be of 20n or 30n, whatever it might be. We'll take this only the notation part. All the integers will omit it. Okay, so if I take this, I'll get n. So which gives the notation for executing this program. I'll get the notation big O of n. This is the time complexity which is required. What is n here? Linear. Got it. And one more shortcut is when you want to time calculate a complexity, it's not required to mention a for loop. If you want, you can mention it. Somehow you'll be getting only the complexity of the inner statement. So if you want, you can add the outer statement execution time also, but it is not required. Somehow you'll be getting only inner statement as your complexity. Now let me give you one more example, guys. Mm, Let me paste here. And if I change the complexity like this, I'm going to start with n and I'm going to go to 0. So now what is the complexity? Can you people let me know what is the complexity for this algorithm? How many times your loop executes? Now I have changed the iteration part. Does it changes? Good. Good guys. It doesn't changes, right? Either 1 to n or n to 1 both gives the same complexity. The number of iteration is same. So this is also n and this is also n. When you're trying to calculate the complexity, you will get the same big O of n. So keep in mind that executing 1 to n or n to 1 gives the same complexity. Complexity wise, there is no variation at all. Okay. And let me go on to the other equation here, guys. Apart from this, let me give the third scenario here. If at all I'm having for I in range of 1 to n and I'm incrementing 2 to step here. I'm not going 1 step. I'm incrementing 2 to step and inside this I'm having a statement. Now can you people calculate the time complexity? How many times your outer loop is executed? How many times your outer loop is for loop is executed, ma? Good, Hemant. Others? Guys, a very basic statement. If at all my step value is 2, how many times it will execute? Good. It will execute n by 2 times. The given number 2 by 2 times. The reason is, if at all the given number is 100, if I am taking 2 to step, in how many step I can cover the 100? In 50 step I can cover it, right? So, good, Pavan, good. So here also it will go to n by 2 times. So what is the time complexity here, guys? Will you people let me know? Good, Harika, good. So when I'm going with f of n, it will calculate n by 2 and this n by 2 is taken as where your constant value is omitted. Again, I'll get big O of n as my complexity. Clear? So this is done. So again, let me give you some other scenario, guys. Here, time complexity is based on like this, based on your loops only, how the loops is occurring. Let me give you one more scenario. A program has for I just a minute for I in range of 1 to n statement inside it. As I said, you guys, you can omit this one. It is not required to calculate this. So somehow you will be getting complexity only the inner statement as a complexity. This is shortcut. It is not required to calculate all the person. Here somehow I will be getting 2n, right? 2n, n by 2. So it is not required to mention this one. Directly you can calculate the inner statement. So this could be your time complexity. That's a shortcut here. Even if you're mentioning that it's not wrong, I mean that it's not wrong, but it's not required. Okay. For j in range of 1 to n in a same program, if I have like this. Now let me know the complexity. How many times this statement will be executed? And how many times this statement will be executed? And what could be the complexity of it? Calculate it. So what could be the time complexity, Amatya? How it is? How it is n power 2? You're trying to add it. You're not trying to do this one. Okay, good, good. Good, guys, good. Okay, since I mentioned 1, you people are confused. Okay, tentatively you can take it as 0, guys. Make it as n iteration. Don't go exactly. Make it as n iterations. So I'm just wondering why people mention n minus 1. Just now I noticed it. Okay. So what happened was what I told you, calculating inner statement is sufficient, right? So you can mention this loop execute n time and this loop execute n time. So overall, how many times this particular function is executing? It is executing for 2n times. Okay, 2n times executing. So your order will be big O of n. So I guess you people are clear with the big O of n. So whenever the loop executes n time, I'll be getting linear as my complexity. Big O of n as my complexity. Now I'm going to increase the complexity of a program bit by mentioning other condition, guys. If at all we people are going to work with the nested loop one after other, we'll see what you're going to do. For I in range of 0 to n. This is my outer loop, and let us assume I'm having an inner loop for j in range of just a minute, range of 0 to n, and inside this I'm having a statement. So now let me know what is the time complexity for this program. Good. Good, guys, good. Ramateja, how it is n? Calculate again and check. Let me know. Good, Vikash, good. So here only for your understanding, I'm putting these two lines, guys. It is not required. Okay, good, Amatya. Good, guys. Good. Nice to see you people. Good. Okay, fine. Shall we calculate it? Okay, look at here. So what is the number of iteration required for outer statement? It executes n time, isn't it? And again, this execute n time. This execute n time. So this J loop will execute n time and along with the outer loop. So it will execute n into n times, isn't it? So this will execute n into n times, and this particular inner statement will also execute n into n times. Will you agree this statement, guys? So J loop it has n iteration. For each and every one element of your I loop, your J loop will execute n times. So it will execute n into n times. So what I told you, it is not required for us to take the outer loop. It is sufficient to take the element of your inner loop. Okay, if you want, you can take it, but it's not required. So I'll tell you two methods how to do with the outer loop and without outer loop. So if you directly calculate it, you can mention directly, you're going to take only the inner statement, you can mention n power 2. Directly you can mention it, and here n power 2 is calculated, mentioned by using big O of n. So this is the one method where you can do it directly. So if at all feel I want to calculate for loop also, no issues, you can do it by mentioning, I'll mention R here, else people will be confused. R, you are supposed to mention f of n assign to n power 2 plus n. So here whenever we are having equation like this, we will take only the higher degree of polynomial. Here the degree of n is 1 and your degree of here n is n square. So we are going to take the higher degree of polynomial. So if I take the higher degree of polynomial, I'll get 2 n power 2. Omit the constant value, will get n power 2. Got it? Somehow you're going to get the same answer, but it is bit lengthy and this is a direct one. So this is all about your nested if, guys. The same nested if it is both the person are going till n, that is fine. Not at all an issue. It is going smoothly. If one person is depending on the other, which means that If one loop is depending on another, then what could be the time complexity? Guys, the reason I'm insisting on time complexity is after this, whatever the program you are doing, just have a habit of calculating time complexity so that you can able to write the efficient program. Okay. And here, if I mention for I in range of, if I'm going to execute from 0 to n, the same way, let me execute for j in range of starting from 0 to j, 0 to, sorry, 0 to I. Let me just a minute, see something is typing here. 0 to I, if this is a condition. So for each and every time your j loop is going to execute I times. If this is your condition, inside this let me have a statement. Now how should I calculate it? Where my this, I know that this person somewhere will execute n times, but I'm not sure about this person how many times he is going to execute this j loop. Whenever you're getting equation like this, you're supposed to solve it by mentioning these persons separately. Let me mention I, and here let me mention j, and here I'm going to mention number of times. How many times here my loop is going to execute each and every time. I'm going to write separate calculation. So when your j value is I value is equals to 0, your j value is equals to 0. So when this goes 0 to 0 range, where does it execute? No, right? So here it is going, it will go somewhere to go from I minus 1. So this number of execution here is 0 times. So at this first stage, no iteration is done. And next we'll write for two or three steps, guys, so that people can be able to trace out what is the logic behind it. So if you want to find out the logic, write the equation for 2 or 3 steps. So when your I value is 1, your j value will be 0 initially, so it will execute 1 times. And again, when your j value is 1, it will never execute, it will terminate. Condition is failed, it will terminate. And next one, when your I value, then your I value will become 2. Just I'm writing a looping condition, guys. It will become as 0, it will execute 1 time, and next time what happened, this element will become as 1, it will execute 2 times. When I'm coming with 2, the condition fails. Overall this person will be executed 2 times, isn't it? Overall number of execution is 2 times. So we'll write for only one more element, still we'll complete it. So when your I value is 3, this person will be executed for 0 times, then followed by 1 times, 2. So when your j value becomes 3, your loop breaks. The reason is it goes less than. So here it executes 3 times. So we found the logic. When your I value is 0, your j loop executes 0 times. When your I value is 1, it executes 1 times. I value is 2, it executes 2 times. So based on your I value, your j is executing those many times for each and every iteration. So when your I value is n, okay, when your I value is n, what could this person execute? And this number of time execution is n. Okay, so now we'll take this one, just a minute, this will execute n times, right? Now we'll take this equation. So if you take I, so you are supposed to calculate till n iteration of I, what could be the complexity. So if you take this particular element, so we are going to execute this particular for first time 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. It is going to execute, keep on execute like this till n times. When your I value is n, it is going to execute n times. So from this what we can form a mathematical equation, sum of natural numbers, that is n into n plus 1 by 2, isn't it? This particular iteration will form you the equation sum of natural numbers n into n plus. So somehow the loop is going to execute n times starting from 1. Each and every time it is going to have a one iteration. So I can mention like this, and now we are supposed to solve this equation. So if you are solving this equation, you can notice that n power 2, what is this, n power 2 plus n, okay, divide by 2. This is your f of n equation what we got, guys. So if you are finding out how many times your loop is executed, the statement inside this particular loops will be executed. This is the equation we got, n power 2 plus n by 2. Somehow we people are supposed to omit this particular constant value. So if you are omitting this constant value, you will be getting only n power 2 plus n. So we know that we are going to take only the higher degree of polynomial. So in those cases, we are going to mention this particular complexity is big O of n square. Is this clear, guys? So if at all the looping sequence is like this, starting from 1 to n, you can able to form a mathematical equation by taking sum of natural numbers as a formula. Why it is not executing I equals to j? Here what is the condition? What is the condition I mentioned? Gayatri, can you notice it here? Here what is the condition mentioned is, here is going to execute I times. When I value is 1, it will go only to 0 times. Okay, for this one it will go, the equation will go, when I value is 0, it will go from 0 to -1 times. So it will go from, when your I value is 1, it will go from, when your I value is 1, it will go from 0 to 0 times. So it will never go to j times. Okay. So this is how you're supposed to form the equation, guys. If at all you get the value like this, you're supposed to form the equation like this. Okay. And apart from this, what is the example I can give? Just give me a second, guys. Lot of examples is there, but those things are common for a C programming. If I want to write specifically for Python, I should think to it. Just give me a second. Okay, let us write by using while loop, guys. Okay, it will be easy. It'll be easy to find the while loop condition. I guess you people are clear with the n square. I given 2 or 3 example for n square, and now we'll go with the log 2n. I'm going to write some formula here. Let me make use of while loop, or the example number 7. So let me write while, and here let us assume I'm going to have a condition. So let your initial value of I be. The I value is 1. And here while, let me apply a condition I less than or equals to n. Okay, n might be some x or y values, don't mind about it right now. And here I'm going to have a statement. For each and every iteration, I'm going to increment my n value by, just a minute, I is equal to I into 2. So if this is the equation, guys, look at here the same for loop, but what I did is I mentioned this for iteration part, I'm mentioning I into 2. You could notice here, right? We have mentioned I is incremented one step here. Instead of one step, I'm multiplying I into 2. The same program, for example, let me write the previous one, what we did it, right? I'll write by using this one, I plus 1. So previously we wrote this one, right? So how many times this loop will be executed? This loop will be executed n times. The complexity what we found for this particular program is big O of n. The same program what we wrote in a for loop, I'm writing in a while statement, guys. So this loop will execute n times. The statement inside this is going to execute n times. The complexity will be order of n. So whenever your I is incremented, one time, one at each time. If at all your I is incrementing like this, now what could be the time complexity? Guys, is the question clear? What I'm saying? Yeah, this incrementation part might occur at any range. I can't able to give any definite condition. It will occur only within this range. It might increment or it may multiply. How can we calculate for this, guys? What is the time complexity we'll be getting? Any idea about it? Will you try it? What is the time complexity for this? Square root of n? No. Infinite loop. Why it is infinite loop? Sum of even numbers. My question is time complexity. 1 is always 1. Harika, why it is 1 power 2 is always 1? Here, notice here, the incrementing value. I'm reassigning my I value each time. Before loop goes, the I value is modified. Got it? So this is a iteration condition. This value will be substituted here. Guys, don't think that I value is never incremented. I'm just multiplying for each and every time. For each and every time, I value is multiplied with 2. Here, since I'm incrementing, right? 1, 2, 3. Here I'm multiplying 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 like this. Okay. Okay, listen, we'll see here. So the same question, we are dealt with it, right? The same question can be solved in one more manner. So I want to find out, okay, I want to find out what is the time complexity here. Yeah, I is keep on, the previous one, guys, I'll just relate this one with this. It'll be easy for you to understand. Here, the previous program, I know that each and every step my I is incremented. Plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. It is keep on incremented till n times. So it is keep on incremented, but I don't know how many times until my ultimate aim is I should reach as n. Okay. So what we'll mention is we'll mention that we doesn't know the value. So let us mention here my k value is equal to n. Here k is I doesn't know what is the number of iteration. So for k times this particular element is going to execute. So the complexity is n. Until I reaches n times it is going to execute it. Okay, this will keep on execute until it reaches n. So I'm assigning my k value is n. Let us use the same step here. Your I value is initially I loop is initially 1. First time it will multiply by 2. Second time it will multiply by 2. The result whatever you got, the same element is going to multiply with 2. Keep on multiply until it reaches n. Isn't it? Here it is going to execute some 1k. Okay, 1k in the sense 1 into 1 k times in the sense what to say, each and every time it is going to execute it. So it is nothing but we'll get some some x values, right? Some 20k or 30k or 40k is equals to n. Until it reaches n, I'm going to execute it. And here I'm going to take some 20k or 40k, some value is going to get. So somehow I'm going to omit the constant value. I'm going to take a equation alone. The same way here, this particular loop is going to execute multiple times. Okay, here it is going to execute 2 power k times, isn't it? Can you able to get what is this 2 power k? This is going to execute some constant of k times. It might be some x value. Right, this is a constant value, constants of k time. So it might be either 10 or 20 or 40. Some integer value will be there. So we will omit this constant value and we are taking the k is equals to n. So this executes n time I am taking value. And here the same way, this particular loop is going to execute for multiple time, for each and every time I'm going to multiply with 2. So I doesn't know what is the time, so I'm taking this as k. So until I reaches the value n, I'm going to execute it. So 2 power k times this particular loop is going to execute it. 2 power k. This k is an unknown value. So if you want to find what is the k value, how many times this k is nothing but your I iteration I'm taking as a k. If you want I, you can take I also, guys. 2 power I times also you can take it. So for the general representation I've taken as k. Here if you want to take how many times your I loop is executed, I should know what is my k value. If I want to find the k value, I should take log on both sides. So you'll be getting the answer log base 2. Here k is nothing but how many times your I loop is executed. I loop representation I'm taking as a k. Log of base 2 of n. So literally this particular equation can be taken as log n big O of log n. Guys, is it clear how do I form this one? So this loop I loop is executed some 2 power some value time. So I'm taking 2 power k. I should know what is the sum value. Until I reaches n, I'm going to form it. The sum value is 2 power k, I'm taking it. So if you want to find a k value, here I have this k is a power value. So in order to bring this k down, I'll take log on both sides. Log 2 will be taken on both sides. So if I take log 2 on both sides, I'll be getting k value as log base of the log base 2 of n. So base 2 can be omitted. So I'll be getting log of n. Log of n complexity is, just a minute, log of n complexity will come in between here, guys. Here you can notice log of n. 1 and square root, I'm getting this answer. Okay. Is it clear? Like this, but based on your loop, you're supposed to calculate your complexity, guys. So how your loop varies, your complexity is also varies. Come on, is that clear? Okay, good. Even sometimes in case of condition part, I may have I by 2. Division part also may be there. So this, apart from this multiplication, I can have division. I by 2 division. So based on this, you should be in a position to calculate it. You should know what is this notation all about, guys. This notation is important. You should know how to calculate this one. So let me give only one more scenario for you. If possible, try to. Okay. Let me give a general scenario, guys, here. Let me give if my n value is less than 5. Okay. Let us assume I'm going to print my n. Else, more or less they are same, Gayatri, until you are using recursion program. Space complexity will be vary. More or less you will be getting space complexity as a constant one. So whenever you're going with this recursion part alone, it will be not a constant one. For I in range of 0 to n, yeah, let us assume I'm going to print my I value inside. So here when I'm supposed to calculate time complexity for this program, we have a best case scenario as well as worst case scenario, guys. Best case, worst case, two kind of scenario is there. So what is the best case scenario? When a best case scenario is, so we'll be seeing the time complexity of best case scenario and worst case scenario. In case of best case scenario, if at all your n value is, the given n value is less than 5, within one iteration my program ends. So in those cases my time complexity will be, what is the best case time complexity here? Big O of 1. This could be a time complexity linear. If at all the value is greater than 5, not less than 5, then what is the worst case time complexity here? Worst case. So somehow we'll never take the average cases, guys. And when you're taking with this time cases, we'll have a best case, worst case, and average cases. We'll consider only the best case and worst case. The reason is the average case will be more or less similar to your worst case. Okay, so we'll never take your average case. Yes, Saikuma, that is n minus, what is that? How many times this loop will execute? It will execute n time, right? So it will be having complexity has big O of n. So we are supposed to calculate like this, what is the worst case scenario for this algorithm? What is the best case scenario for this algorithm? So by calculating the worst case and best case only, we are supposed to find out the which algorithm is efficient one. Clear? So by afternoon, we people be seeing with multiple different types of algorithm, not algorithm, how to say. Let's start with this data, this one, guys. Linked list. We start with linked list, linear data structure. We're going to start with afternoon. So in those cases, while seeing with each and every algorithm, after this in data structure, I'll let you know how the time complexity is calculated for each and every algorithm, so that you people will be familiar with it. Okay. I guess you people are clear so far.